examination, that you have to be completely prepared before the examination. Prepared emotionally, mentally, physically, and more importantly, spiritually. The first subject in our licensure examination. We cannot do anything about it. That is clinical chemistry. Day 1, subject 1. That is the reason why napapansin mo, my lecture is so what? Pressing. Kasi I am a known what? Sabi nga nila, nako, si Ma'am Rodriguez, that is a known what? Pusher, not of drugs. I am pushing students to the limit. Why? Because this is day 1, subject 1. Kapag naipasa mo ang clinical chemistry, na alam mo na pumasa ka. In fact, pagkatapos pala ng clinical chem, dinedeclare mo na may nanalo na. Ako na ang top 1. Why? Because if you pass the clinical chem in high colors, you top the board exam. Why? Happy ka sa micro. You expect the micro in August 2022 is amazing. Ilalagay mo na yan sa puso mo. Mom, talaga, amazing. Hematology is always Bloody Mary. We cannot do anything about it. Mom, it's always in the social media. The hematology is so bloody. Truly. Oh, pero hindi. Dahil sa happy ka, sa day 1, subject 1, happy ka sa clinical chem, the micro, the para, the UBF, the histopath, the hema, the immunosera blood bank, will be easy for you. However, even the day 1, subject 1, oh my goodness, gracious, great balls of fire. Ano nangyari sa'yo? You were sad, agitated. Ma'am, totoo ba yun? Day 1, subject 1, di na raw bumalik yung iba. Yung iba umiiyak daw habang nagtitake ng exam. Ay, marami na nagpatunay nun. Totoo, clinical chem 1 pa lang, umiiyak na. Ma'am, bakit gano'n? Sinabi ko na sa'yo. You have to have expectations. You expect that this is a licensure examination. Do not expect that the questions are so peripheral. Of course, the questions are analytical. Katulad nito, nabasa mo lang sa book, nephelometry is sensitive over turbidimetry. Eh, wag mo expect na ang tanong sa board exam which of the following is a sensitive method? Which of the following is a correct statement? Why? Nephelometry is a sensitive method. Because that is a licensure examination. So in other words, i-expect mo na clinical chem is challenging. Check. There are analytical questions. Check. There are questions that I did not even discover when I take note while studying clinical chemistry. Check. Actually, nabasa mo yun. But the way it was asked was different. Katulad ng ginagawa ko ngayon. Why? Because clinical chem, remember, is analysis. Katulad nito, migration of charged particles, electrolytes. Electrolytes are never part of electrophoresis. This is a measure for proteins. Because proteins are what? Amphoteric substances. Ano ibig sabihin ng amphoteric? It could either be positively charged or negatively charged, and the specific charge of the proteins depends on the concentration of the solution. Anong ibig sabihin nun? Yung serum, kumuha ka ng sample of children, very specific ako. What are the samples? In protein electrophoresis, serum, urine, CSF. Ma'am, kaya pala nakita ko sa book, SPE. Anong SPE? Serum, protein electrophoresis. Ma'am, meron din po ako nakita sa clinical chemistry book, CSF, protein electrophoresis. Ma'am, meron kami discussion sa UBF, urine, protein electrophoresis. In clinical chemistry, what is the preferred sample if the question is protein electrophoresis? Let me say that again. In clinical chemistry, what is the preferred sample if the question is the sample for protein electrophoresis? Serum and never plasma. Naku, isulat mo yan. Serum and never plasma. Remember that. Again, I will emphasize that, guys, if the question in the board exam, what is the preferred sample for protein electrophoresis? Serum and never plasma. Bakit hindi po pwedeng plasma? Sasagutin ko yung pagdating natin sa protein discussion. Basta ngayon, utay-utay lang, dahan-dahan lang, konti-konti lang. Ang una mo dapat maalala, serum, urine, and CSF. Bakit protein ang analyte of interest? Because they are amphoteric substances. Kumuha ka ng serum. Ito ha, kumuha ka ng serum. As in serum. Even your own serum sample. Next, anong gagawin mo? You add acidic reagent. Oh my God. So sabi mo, may protein dyan. So dahil nag-add ka ng acidic reagent, may protein doon. Ano yung protein? Amphoteric. Ano ito ibig sabihin ng amphoteric? Dual bipolar charges. Anong charge ng sodium? Positive. Anong charge ng chloride? Negative. Ang sodium ba pwede maging negatively charged? Mahirap. Ang chloride ba pwede maging positively charged? Mahirap. What is the only analyte in your blood and my blood with bipolar charges? Oh my God. What is the answer? Protein. And how do we call those substances with slide na ako. Eto guys, bukas pa nag-lecture ako, nakatayo na ako, Ma'am Edith, hindi ko talaga kaya nakaupo. I have a scoliosis and bone problem. Hirap na ako umupo. Hindi ko po kaya umupo ng 1 oras ng diretso. Sa totoo lang. Alam ng lahat siya na pag nag-lecture ako sa Pioneer, nakatayo ako talaga. Uupo ako konti, tayo ng matagal. Laging ganun children. 4 hours standing, 3 hours standing, 6 hours, 8 hours standing. Ganun talaga guys, okay? So nahihirapan na po ako umupo. Going back, Ma'am, meron po tayong analytes sa blood. 2 ang charges. Naman, what is our answer again? Proteins. How do we call this proteins with dual charges? Amphoteric. Gusto mo mag-top notcher? Alam ko, of course, nag-review ka para mag-top notcher ka. Dapat ang 1 to 10 as a pioneer guys, napapagod na po ako mag-lecture ha. Oops, Ma'am, bakit po ang proteins amphoteric? Those who have review book, anong nilagay ko dyan? Why is it that proteins are amphoteric? Because of their amino acid content. Isn't it that was explained many times by our professor in biochemistry? Ang sabi sa atin, class, remember, proteins are what? With bipolar charges. Why? Because of their amino acid content. Kaya nga mayroon tayong tinatawag na acidic amino acid. They bear the positive charge. We have the basic amino acid. They have the negative charge. So pag ang serum, dilagyan mo ng acidic reagent, ay yung protein mo na magiging cation. Eh pag naglagay ka ba ng alkaline reagent, edi syempre si protein mo magiging anion. That's why the charge depends on the concentration of the solution. Next, syempre tatanungin mo ako, Ma'am, baka tanungin sa board exam ito. Ay, siguro, ilagay mo na sa puso mo, malaking chance. Ma'am, tanungin ko mo sa board exam, during SPE, anong SPE? Serum, protein, electrophoresis. What is the charge of the proteins? Anions. They are all negatively charged. I said, during electrophoresis. Ma'am, what is the charge of proteins in normal serum or normal plasma, in normal whole blood? 0 net charge. Bakit 0? Balance of positive and negative charge, 0 net charge. But once you add a specific solution, the charge will be replaced. Ma'am, bakit sila naging anion during electrophoresis? Well, kasi pa nakita mo ang protein, serum protein electrophoresis, kaya anion sila, sigurado kang anion sila, because they migrate to anode. Anode is the positively charged electrode. And when you see analyzed migrating to anode, well, these are anions. Bakit nga naging anions yung mga proteins during SPE? Because of the reagent used in SPE. What is the reagent used in SPE? Barbital. What is the other name of barbital? Veronal. What is the concentration of the barbital or veronal? Alkaline concentration. Equivalent to what? pH 8.6. Sabi mo, check. Kaya pala naging anions, ma'am, yung mga serum proteins. Because the reagent used in electrophoresis is what? An alkaline reagent. That is the reason during electrophoresis lang, they are anions. During SPE, to be specific, serum protein electrophoresis, they are anions. And what is the standard concentration of the buffer in electrophoresis? 8.6. What else? Pag mong kalilimutan, bakit ang proteins amphoteric? Why is it they have bipolar charges? They have dual charges. Why is it they are amphoteric? Because of their amino acids. Amphoteric because of amino acid. Guys, are you learning? Nag-e-enjoy ba kayo sa lecture natin o ako lang ang nag-e-enjoy? Are you learning? Did you learn something new? Thank you so much for the acknowledgement. Tandaan natin, para relax ka na sa board exam, happy ka. What else? What are the factors affecting rate of migration? Bakit may mabagal, may mabilis mag-migrate? The charge of the molecule. O children, ha? Patayin ko yung ilaw, children, kasi sobrang mainit dito sa room. Okay? Girls, nakalimutan ko maglagay ng sunblock. Okay? Ang ating skin. We have to take care. Ma'am, nasa yung sunblock muna dun sa CR. Malayo pa. Okay? So, I have to turn off. Okay? Going back. Alam nyo ba guys, kahit na nag-i-speak ako, ganyan talaga ginagawa ko. Ladies and gentlemen, I will turn off the light. So going back. Guys, ilagay mo na sa puso mo. Ma'am, tatanungin kami ng electrophoresis naman. What is the first factor affecting rate of migration? Bakit daw may protein na mabilis mag-migrate? Bakit may mabagal mag-migrate? The charge of the molecule. Take note that the higher the net electric charge, the faster is the migration. Lower electric charge is slower migration. Which protein has the highest electric charge? That's why it is the fastest migrating protein in SPE. That protein has the highest electric charge. That's why it is the fastest migrating protein in serum protein electrophoresis. What is our answer? Ang hindi makasagot nito, hindi magbo-board exam. That is a basic question, children. Kung hindi mo kayang ilagay sa chat box yung answer mo, it doesn't matter. Make sure may answer ka. Dito mo malalaman na, naku, alam ko na ang fundamentals. What is the answer? Excellent. Those who answered albumin. Take note of that. That is the correct answer, guys. Albumin. Maraming nag-answer. Okay? Hindi na natin mahabol. What is that protein with the lowest electric charge? That's why it is the slowest migrating protein. It is the lowest electric charge. Kaya siya pinakamabagal during SPE. Justin Ann Amar, the first to answer. Globulins, specifically gamma globulins. Take note of that. Gamma globulins. Children, tandaan natin na maraming globulins. Ang specific, gamma globulins. What else? The second factor, the size and the shape. Ma'am, ibig mo sabihin, the first factor that affects migration of proteins is not the shape, but the net electric charge. Correct. Bako, kaya nilalagay ko ito. Guys, review na to, kaya naka-enumerate na siya according to hierarchy, Which protein, children, has the smallest, or which protein is considered the smallest in size? That's why it is also the fastest migrating protein. The smallest protein is the fastest. The largest protein is the slowest migrator. Sino pinakamaliit na protein in size? Albumin. And what is the biggest? Gamma globulin. So therefore, albumin has the highest net electric charge. That's why it is the fastest migrating protein. Oops, nagkataon pa, it is the smallest protein. The gamma globulins are the lowest, has the lowest electric charge. That's why the slowest migrator. And it happened also that it is the largest protein. But the charge first before the size. The nature of the supporting medium. Dako na dyan na sa book mo. What are the different supporting media that can we use? First is the cellulose acetate. Cellulose acetate is used for SPE, serum protein electrophoresis. And what is the principle of cellulose acetate? Migration of proteins is based on molecular size. That is cellulose acetate. Agarose gel, what is the principle? Migration of proteins is based on electric charge. Then, the polyacrylamide gel or page, it has the highest resolution. And the page, do not forget, the principle, the migration of proteins is based on both the size and the charge. based both on size and charge. That is the page. Take note of that. What else? Question. Kasi ina-expect mo may electrophoresis. Guys, yung pre-pandemic nga may electrophoresis. Ngayon pa kaya pandemic. Take note. Guys, lalo na ngayon August 2022. Naku, lalo i-expect natin yan. Children, tanong ka sa board exam. Aside from albumin and globulins, what are the other analytes in your blood and my blood that can be subjected to electrophoresis? That can be, take note, identified through electrophoresis. Aside from albumin and globulin, meron pa ba? What is our answer? Meron. And what are these analytes that can also be subjected to electrophoresis? Guys, enzymes. Isn't it that enzymes are proteins in nature? Ma'am, bakit mo tinatawag natin sa enzymes na proteins in nature? Kasi meron din siya amino acids. Because enzymes contain amino acids, do not forget. Anong sinabi ko sa iyo kanina? Why is it that proteins are the most analytes of interest in electrophoresis? Because of their amphoteric nature. Ano amphoteric nature? Because of their amino acid content. So why is it that enzymes can be subjected to electrophoresis? Because they are proteins in nature. Because they also contain what? Amino acids. Children, hindi lang yan ano pa tatandaan natin? Electrophoresis is the most significant analytical method for the initial identification of isoenzymes. Write it, please. Electrophoresis is the most significant analytical method for the initial identification and differentiation of isoenzymes. Guys, bigyan mo nga ako ng example ng enzyme na may isoenzymes. Give me example of enzyme with isoenzymes. Naku ha. Board exam na. LDH, Florence Eunice de la Cruz. Excellent. Children, ilan po ang isoenzymes ng LDH? How many isoenzymes for LD? I would like to know. Tingnan ko ilan ang natatandaan mong enzymes ng LD. The four ladies. Miss Cabubas, Castillo, and De La Cruz and Martinez first to answer, 5. Followed by Tabunot, Bacayana Aliza, and Anacta Alicia Gabriel, 5. Oops, Mamang alam ko po 6. That is incorrect. When we move to LD, malalaman mo kung bakit incorrect na 6 ang LD isoenzymes. There are only 5 normal LD isoenzymes. And anong tawag natin sa LD isoenzymes? LD1, LD2, LD3, LD4, LD5. Ma'am, bakit yung LD isoenzymes based on numerics? LD1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Because the reason why they have these numerics, because the LD isoenzyme nomenclature is based on electrophoretic pattern. The LD1 is LD1 because it is the fastest migrating LD. The LD5 is LD5 because it is the slowest migrating LD. Ma'am, kaya pala sinabi mo that electrophoresis is the most significant analytical method for identification and differentiation of isoenzymes. Correct. Ano pa ang may isoenzyme? CK. Ilan po ang isoenzymes ng CK? Kasi baka makalimutan mo guys, kaya tinatanong kita. 3, excellent, Judith, Bautista, and Christine Calbrinas. First to answer, they said 3. And what are the CK isoenzymes? Ano po ang original name ng CK isoenzymes? CK1, 2, and 3. CK1, CK2, CK3. Yan po ang kanyang original nomenclature. Yan po ang kanyang original nomenclature. CK1, CK2, CK3. Ma'am, are you telling us kaya tinawag na CK1? Fastest migrating CK naman. Ma'am, kaya mo po tinawag na CK3? Slowest migrating CK naman. Take note of that. In fact, do not forget, electrophoresis is the reference method for CK isoenzyme differentiation. Do not ever forget that. Electrophoresis is the reference method for the CK isoenzyme differentiation. Question, what is the other name of CK1? 5 seconds. Other name of CK1. Excellent Judith Bautista and Alicia Gabriel Anacta, CKBB. Other name of CK2, 5 seconds. CK2, Excellent Bautista and Anacta and Florence and everybody, CKMB. And what is the CK3? CKMM. Huwag kalilimutan. Take note of the children. So therefore, the cellulose acetate and agarose gel, put a bracket, children. The agarose gel, the agarose gel and the polyacrylamide gel, put a bracket. The agarose gel and the polyacrylamide gel, that can be used for enzyme and isoenzyme electrophoresis. Enzyme and isoenzyme electrophoresis, put a bracket, agarose gel and polyacrylamide gel. In fact, the page or the polyacrylamide gel, that is important for isoenzyme studies because it can create 15 to 20 separated bonds. The polyacrylamide gel or page can actually create 15 to 20 separated bonds. Eh si agarose gel, usually guys hanggang 6 lang. Eh more than 6, punta na tayo sa page. 15 to 20, so that is best for isoenzyme studies. Ma'am, parang ano po gagamitin for protein electrophoresis? Cellulose acetate. Next, how about lipoproteins? Can we subject lipoprotein to electrophoresis? Yes. The VLDL, the HDL, the chylomicrons, and even the LDL. Can we subject them to electrophoresis? Yes. It is not the lipid, but the protein content. Kasi guys, di ba ang tawag natin? Lipoprotein. May lipid na, may protein pa. So which is the subject of electrophoresis? The protein. Why? Because of the amino acid. Next, baka gusto mong tanongin, ma'am, ibig mo pong sabihin, pag sinabi po nating migration of charged particles, that is specific component of protein that will migrate is the amino acid. Check. Ang pinapamigrate mo, yung amino acid. Siya yung nagmamigrate. Siya yung subject sa migration. That is the amino acid. Why? Kasi si amino acid po ang may charge. It is either positive, it is either negative because it has the acidic amino acid and it has the basic amino acid. So what is the subject of migration? Specifically, the amino acid. So, alin po pwede nating isubject sa serum electrophoresis? Protein, lipoprotein, enzymes. Take note, including isoenzymes. Tingnan mo itong picture na to, guys. Mom, baka ipakita po sa amin yun sa board exam. True. Kapag nakakita ka ng electrophoretic pattern, ano ang unang-una mong gagawin? Oops, count the number of separated bonds. There should be 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Take note of this. How many separated bonds after normal SPE? I said normal, healthy SPE. There should be 5 separated bonds. 1 for albumin, 4 for globulins. Mom, ibig sabihin there are 4 major globulins. Oh my God, there are 4 major globulins. And what are the 4 major globulins? Alpha-1 globulin, alpha-2 globulin, beta globulin, gamma globulin. Tingnan mo guys, ang kanilang height. What is the height? Almost the same. Ano ibig sabihin nun? Almost same concentration. Bakit si albumin ang taas-taas ng height niya? Ang taas-taas ng peak niya because the peak or height in electrophoresis represents the concentration of the analyte. Why is it that albumin has mas mataas yung peak niya, yung height niya compared to the other bonds? Because albumin is the most abundant protein. And the other 4 globulins, almost same electrophoretic peak. Take note. Huwag kakalimutan yan. Ilan ang bonds, separated bonds, after normal serum electrophoresis? 5. How many bonds for albumin normally? 1. How many bonds for globulins? 4. What is the first thing that you have to check if, let's say, you have a picture or illustration, this board exam, and it is an electrophoretic pattern? Count the number of bands so that you have an answer early. If it is a normal SPE, tandaan mo guys, dapat ganyan ang height ng globulins. What else? Oops, densitometry, page 25. This will scan and quantitate electrophoretic pattern. Densitometer is like the detector in electrophoresis. That is like a scanner in electrophoresis that will scan and quantitate electrophoretic pattern. Para daw makita mo yung separated bands na yan, gagamit ka ng densitometer. The densitometry is the method. Densitometer is the instrument. Next, and to better visualize the electrophoretic pattern. Take note, children, after migration, how do we visualize the electrophoretic pattern? We have to use stains. Amido black and Poncho S, put a bracket. These are electrophoretic dyes used for protein and enzyme electrophoresis. Again, put a bracket. Amido black and Poncho S, these are electrophoretic dyes used in protein and enzyme electrophoresis. Oil red O, Sudan black, fat red 7B, put a bracket CDE. Para saan naman yan? Lipoprotein electrophoresis. For lipoprotein electrophoresis, CDE, obviously, oil, Sudan black, and fat. How about Kumasi blue? CSF protein electrophoresis. That is for CSF protein electrophoresis. Do not forget that. Mom, baka tanongin niyo, Mom, what is the purpose of CSF protein electrophoresis? Children, ito dinidiscuss to sa UBF Baka sakaling itanong sa clinical chemistry, pero lagi itong tinatanong sa UBF, urinalysis and body fluid exam. But in case, that will be asked also in clinical chemistry. Children, what is the clinical significance of CSF protein electrophoresis? What is the clinical significance of CSF protein electrophoresis? Walang mag-google, walang mag-open ng book. Halimbawa, board exam ngayon, tinanong sa'yo yan, what is our answer? Mom, ano ba yung sabihin ng clinical significance? What is the disease that, will be detected and can be detected after the CSF protein electrophoresis? What is our answer? Excellent, Justin Ann Amar and Ray Mark Magleo. What is the answer? Multiple sclerosis. The very purpose of CSF protein electrophoresis, and Judith Bautista, the very purpose of CSF protein electrophoresis is to observe the oligoclonal bonding in multiple sclerosis. Yan ang purpose ng CSF protein electrophoresis. Siyempre, tatanungin mo ako, Mom, what is the purpose of serum protein electrophoresis? What is the clinical significance? I-discuss kaya pagdating natin sa protein chapter. Basta ngayon, isa na ang naalala mo, Kumasi blue is the stain for CSF electrophoresis. And the clinical significance, multiple sclerosis. Notes to remember, page 25. O para magka-idea ka guys tingnan mo yung picture na yan. Ayan ang sample well. Ma'am, ang sample well malapit pala sa negative electrode. Tama. Pero tandaan mo ang direction of movement from negative to positive electrode. Why? Because we use an alkaline buffer in SPE. That is the barbital, that is the veronal, exactly 8.6. So the amphoteric protein in serum will turn anions because their specific charge depends on the concentration of the reagent. That's why they turn an ion, they move to anode electrode. So anong nakalagay sa page 25? A particle without a net charge will not migrate. Of course, it will remain in the point of application. Tama. Question. Meron ba protein na walang net charge at hindi siya magmamigrate? Maiiwan lang siya dito sa point of application. What is the answer? Meron. Walang mag-google. Kailangan isipin mo siyang mag-isa kasi board exam na. Babalik tayo sa traditional way of answering exams that you will be alone, people. Okay? What is the answer? Ma'am, sasabihin mo sa amin kung anong answer. Pagdating natin sa mga proteins, I will tell you what is that protein without a charge. In fact, it will not migrate. Ma'am, is it a pure protein? Hindi siya pure protein. Kaya nakalagay dyan, what is that particle without a net charge? It will remain in the point of application. Tandaan natin yan, guys. Nako, Lainey Repulye. Miss Lena Repulye. Excellent. Huwag mo isi-share yung answer mo, Miss Lena Repulye. May nanalo na, may sumagot na si Miss Lena Repulye. Mabat ayaw mong sabihin yung answer niya. Mahaba pang paliwanag yan. Utay-utay lang tayo para hindi ka magkakaroon ng info overload or IO, info overload. But Iha, Lena Repulye, excellent answer. That is the particle without a net charge. And it will not migrate. Take note of that. I will explain it further when we go to that discussion. Oh my goodness, wala ito sa book mo. So ang gagawin mo, kukuhanan mo to ng picture. Okay? Those who do not have books, ganun din ang gagawin mo. Mass spectrometer. Huwag ka muna mag-take ng photo. I'll tell you when. First, what is the principle of mass spectrometry? Hindi ako magtataka kung kasama to sa board exam mo ngayon. Promise. It determines the components of a sample. Take note, the components of a sample. Ibig sabihin, the analytes in the sample. Ma'am, bakit di mo na lang ginawang analytes? Hindi ko pwedeng palitan. Kasi yan ang nasa mga books. I cannot change it. So, I will explain it. Ma'am, what do you mean by components? The analytes in the sample. Glucose, choline, triglycerides, hormones, drugs, toxins, everything. Those are the components of your sample, biological sample. It determines the components of the biological sample using, amazingly, the X and Y axis. My goodness gracious, great balls of fire. Pag nakita mo pa lang sa question, children, identification yan. This analytical method determines the X and Y axis. Sinabi analytical method, hindi sinabing quality control chart. Basahin kung maigi yung question, guys. That is analytical method. There is only one analytical method, people, that use the X and Y axis. Mass spectrometry. It is the mass spectrometry. Guys, metri yan, ba't naging meter? Ayan yung hinabol ko na slide. Ma'am, kaya ka pala na-stress kanina, na late ka. Yeah, imagine 7 slides ang nawala. Hindi ko kaya yung guys. Babuti na lang Ma'am Edith and Ma'am Jo, chinek ko talaga. Kasi kung nagle-lecture ako, nakita ko, naku, mai-stress ako ng children. I don't know what happened. Kaya in fact, nakita ko yung ibang, chapters pa ng lecture, nawala din yung ibang slides. Ay naku, ayoko nang isipin. Guys, kasi prepared ako ngayon. Tignan mo yung hair ko, hindi masyadong na-set yan, di ba? So, it determines the X and Y. What is X? The mass to charge ratio of the analyte. What is the Y? The concentration of the analyte. Oh my God. Amazing. It is based on fragmentation and ionization of molecules using suitable source of energy. That is MS. Alam ko gusto mo itong tanongin. Sasagutin ko na, Ma'am, bakit nabasa ko dito sa book? Mass spectrophotometry. Tapos, Ma'am, na nag-google ako, ang nakalagay naman, mass spectrometry. Ma'am, litong-lito na ako. Huwag ka na malito. Mass spectrometry and mass spectrophotometry, same. Pareho po sila. It was confirmed by McPherson and Pincus, 24th edition, copyright 2022. In fact, hinanap ko talaga yan sa book ni 2022 edition ni McPherson and Pincus kasi, guys, hindi ko pwedeng, matagal ko nang sinasabi na pre-pandemic, ang tagal-tagal na children ko ng lecture ito, lagi ko sinasabi, hindi, itong slide na to bago to. Noon, there is no separate discussion on MS. Wala. Binabanggit na yan, MS, fragmentation, ionization, period. Ngayon, oh my God, this is now one of the very important analytical method. One of the important analytical methods. Take note of that. So therefore, it is based on fragmentation also and ionization of the analyte of interest. This is another important factor. Etong last bullet, matagal ko na po nile-lecture yan sa GC. Lahat kaming chemistry professors, lagi binabanggit yan. Yan yung matagal na. Yung X and Y, bago. Fragmentation, ionization, matagal na. Before a compound can be detected and quantified by MS, it must be separated by GC. Ibig mo sabihin, ma'am, GC is an important component of mass spectrometry measurement. Truly. It separates diverse molecules from one another in the gas phase utilizing the so-called MS methodology. Take a photo, guys. Pag tinanong ka sa exam, which of the following methodologies should be utilized in mass spectrometry? Oh my God, GC. Hindi ko lang sinabing chromatography. GC. Very specific. What else? Next, you will take a photo also because it's not in your book. Continuation. Therefore, wag ka muna mag-take ng picture. What is the use of MS? Ang dami. Ma'am, ibig mo sabihin, MS is becoming a routine method in clinical chemistry? Correct. Nagiging routine method na siya, children. It identify and quantify, analyze in human fluids, even body tissues, for therapeutic drug measurement, for illicit drug measurement, drug development, toxicology, therapeutic drug meaning therapeutic drug monitoring yan, guys, sa TDM. In measurement of the prohibited drugs or the drugs of abuse, ano ko nakalagay po dyan? It can differentiate normal tissues from cancerous tissues. Hindi lang liquid sample, even tissues. Do not forget that. It is also used, oh my goodness gracious, mass spectrometry is not only used in gas chromatography, not only used in liquid chromatography, not only used in high-performance liquid chromatography, also in proteomics and metabolomics. Ma'am, may ganyan ba? Yan ang bagong methods sa 2022 edition ni McPherson and Pincus Henry's book. Matagal nang pinag-uusapan yan, guys. Finally, it's written so clearly. Proteomics and also used in metabolomics. What else? What is the purpose of the internal standard in MS? Naku, kaya nakita ng photo. Take now a photo. Take, guys, a photo. This internal standard serves as a calibrant to correct for sample variation. The use of internal standard in mass spectrometry is to correct sample variation, to correct for the loss of analyte during analysis. Pwede pala yun, ma'am. Nawala yung sa analyte of interest. That's why there is an internal standard. Take a photo, children. Very important. Next, how about the time of light? This is also new. Guys, are you done with microbiology lecture? Can I see a yes or no in the chat box? Are you done with microbiology? No. Thank you, Miss Valorie. Not yet. No. Children, may I ask this question? Wala pa kayong lecture, pero gusto ko kayong tanungin. Currently, what is that method in bacteriology that can identify bacteria species level, even the bacterial strains in minutes, in less than 1 hour? Excellent, anak ta Alicia Gabriel, Malditov. Pag sinabi mong Malditov, children, Maldi is different from Tov. Meron pa akong i-add. Ang makikita mo ngayon sa microbiology book, Maldi, Tov, and MS. Ma'am, what is Maldi? Matrix assisted light desorption, Malditov, and ionization. Ibig sabihin ng Malditov, matrix assisted light desorption, ionization, Maldi. Ma'am, si Tov, baka partner ni Maldi? Yes. Ma'am, si MS, pwede rin i-partner kay Maldi, Tov? Yes. So what is time of light? It distinguishes ions based on their speed, velocity. Oh my goodness gracious. Ma'am, how about MS? That is fragmentation and ionization. There is an X and there is a Y axis. Remember that. There is for mass measurement and there's also for concentration. However, always remember that MS is also based on fragmentation, and ionization of molecules is the time of light based on velocity of the analyte, which is accelerated by an electric field, and each ion receives the same amount of kinetic energy. Each analyte receives the same amount of kinetic energy. Take a photo, please. Yan yung isa sa nawalang slide. So, ma'am, pinulit mo ulit in 30 minutes. Truly. It's so amazing. Next, how about MSMS or MS2? Ito pa yung isang nawalang slide. Kasi sinabi ko, guys, I have to rerun it. No? Quickly, in 30 minutes. Tandem mass spectrometry. Ma'am, nabasa ko sa book, tandem mass spectrophotometry. Pareho lang po yun. I am sure baka mag-wave ito sa exam mo, ha? Lalo na sa clinical chemistry. What is MS or what is MS2 or MSMS? Ma'am, is it mass spectrometry, mass spectrometry? No. Tandem mass spectrometry. MS alone is mass spectrometry. MSMS or MS2, hindi mass spectrometry and mass spectrometry. Ang tawag natin actually dito, the tandem, kasi dalawa sila, tandem mass spectrometry. Mami, nakita ko sa book, mass spectrometry / mass spectrometry is also MS2. Pwede. Kaya lang, pinalitan ang pangalan. Ginawa nilang mas accurate. Anong tinawag na nila? Ang tawag na nila, tandem. Ano yung tandem? Dalawang MS. Ay, kaya pala nakita ko sa book, ma'am, MS or MS2. Mass spectrometry / mass spectrometry. Tama din. Kaya lang, para maiwasan yung mass spectrometry / mass spectrometry, tandem na lang. It involves doing mass analysis twice, my God, while performing a dissociation process. Oh my goodness gracious. Guys, are you learning? Yun sa totoo lang, nag-e-enjoy ba kayo sa lecture natin o ako lang ang nag-e-enjoy? Kasi lahat ito, very important methodologies ito, guys, ha? Process or a chemical reaction to change in ions mass or charge. Thank you so much for the acknowledgement. Ma'am, ano ang purpose ng, ma'am, baka gusto mo pang itanong, ma'am, si mass spectrometry / mass spectrometry, tama rin yung term na yon, tama rin yung pangalan na yon, tama din, kaya lang, ayaw na paulit-ulit ng mga scientists, so ang ginawa na lang nila, tandem. Pero tama rin yung mass spectrometry / mass spectrometry. Tama rin yun. Kaya para wag na paulit-ulit, tandem mass spectrometry. It enhances what? The specificity beyond molecular weight separation. My gosh. Gives clarification on complex structures and assists in the identification of the basic composition of the sample. In newborn screening test, this is so important because the MSMS enables the GCMS to detect several errors of metabolism. Alam ko na ang sasabihin ng iba, ma'am, kaya pala nababasa ko sa mga books na sa newborn screening may chromatography, tsaka may mass spectrometry. Actually, it is GCMS with tandem MS. GCMS with tandem MS. It's like GCMS / MS. GCMS / MS. Take a photo, people. May nagre-request pa dito mo, pakibalik po sa time of life, ma'am. Thank you so much, Rafael. Sabi niya, ma'am, nakakahawa yung entusiasm mo. Adik ako, guys. Totoo yan. Kaya nga, alam mo, marami nagtatanong sa akin, bakit si Dr. Rodriguez, wala siya, si ma'am, wala siya sa face-to-face. Kasi it goes with the age. Pero wag kayong mag-alala. Parang ako ko yan. No? Makikita niyo ako sa mock board. Sa pre-board exam, it will be live. Pre-board, live to. Hindi ako mas gusto ko pre-board live para makita niyo yung expression ko. O, ito na ha. Yung mga tapos na mag-photo dito, pag bibigyan natin yung hindi naka-photo ng time of flight. Okay, take it, time of flight. Ayan na. Time of flight. Bautista Judith, that is your request based on velocity. Do not forget that sinimplify ko na to, guys, para madali mong maintindihan. Are you done, Miss Judith? And the rest. Then, this is the MSMS doing twice analysis. Twice. Why? To enhance specificity. to clarify complex structure. Do not forget that. Next, let's go now to chromatography. Page 26. Mom, bakit inuna mo si MS, si TOF, at saka si tandem MS? Because, so that you understand fully the chromatography. Ay, kaya pala inuna ni ma'am. Kasi, ang sabi sabi niyo po kanina, that GC is important in MS. Correct. So, this is chromatography now. The separation of soluble components in a solution by differences in physical and chemical characteristics of the constituents. Okay? Ops, dumadami na po ang keyword principle. Guys, if the question is about dissociation of analytes, what is the best answer? Which analytical method works on dissociation? AAS, excellent remark. Migration of analytes. How about migration? 5 seconds. Migration of analytes. What is that analytical method that goes with migration? Electrophoresis. How about excitation? Excitation? 5, 4, flame photometry. How about light intensity? Light, nakita mo sa question, it deals with light intensity. Spectrophotometry. Oh, how about fragmentation of the analytes of interest? Oh, fragmentation, that is only owned by one analytical method. What is that analytical method that works on fragmentation? 5. Ipa-fragment niya, dudurugin niya yung analyte of interest. Excellent, Judith Bautista. Mass spectrometry. It has Y and X axis in measuring the analyte of interest. It involves the X and Y axis in measuring the analyte of interest. Still, what is the answer? Mass spectrometry. Do not forget that. How about separation of soluble components of the sample? That is chromatography. The keyword principle here is separation. Kaya ano sabi ni MS? MS requires separation by GC because that is the keyword principle of chromatography. Kaya pag nakita mo separation, chromatography. Well, thin layer chromatography, page 27, take note. For drug screening, this is actually screening test for therapeutic drugs, also for prohibited drugs. And when you say thin layer chromatography, the separation of analytes is based on RF value, retention factor. My goodness gracious children, pag nakita mo sa question sa exam, this analytical method is based on retention factor, may nanalo na. Based on RF value, may nanalo na. What is the answer? TLC. True or false? Paper chromatography also used retention factor. True or false? Paper chromatography also used retention factor in separating the analytes of interest using paper chromatography. Is it true or false? True. Ibig mo sabihin, ma'am, dalawa pong chromatographic methods ang may retention factor value. Oh yes. Ano yung una? Yung historical. Paper chromatography. Ano yung ginagamit natin ngayon? Thin layer chromatography. Huwag mong kakalimutan yan, children. Next, those who have their review book, ay nako, hindi ko na ipapaliwanag ang formula ng retention factor ha. What is the retention factor? That is the relative distance of migration from the point of application. Again, relative distance of migration from the point of application. Ito ang point of application. Ito ang point of separation. How do we call this distance? Kaya gumagamit ka ng metric instrument like a ruler. You need to measure the separation point from application point to the separation point. Ito mo yung cursor ko, guys. That is RF value. What else? Ma'am, ano po sample sa thin layer chromatography? Whole blood, pwedeng serum, pwedeng plasma, pwedeng urine, or gastric fluid, or other biological fluids. Take note, this is a screening test for prohibited drug, even therapeutic drug, but mostly prohibited drug. Next, and how about the gas chromatography? Children, what is the best specimen if you would like to detect drugs of abuse? The best sample and the commonly used sample if you would like to identify and determine or detect prohibited drugs. What is the commonly used and the best sample? Sample that should be used. Judith Bautista, siya ang unang nag-answer. Marami nang sumunod. What is the answer? Urine. Remember, the best sample in detecting prohibited drug and the commonly used sample as well, that is actually urine. Random or time urine? Random urine. Bakit hindi blood? Bakit hindi serum? Bakit hindi plasma? Malalaman mo yung answer parating natin sa toxicology. Basta ngayon ang mindset mo peripherally, urine is the best sample for prohibited drug testing. Mama, what about therapeutic drug monitoring? Oh, it is serum. That is the best sample, as well as the commonly used sample for therapeutic drug monitoring. But for drugs of abuse, urine. Random urine. What is gas chromatography? For syempre separation. Ma'am, ano po ang specific use niya? For separation of analytes, mostly alcohol, steroids, and drugs. Ano naman yung drugs? Therapeutic or prohibited drugs. Children, pag sinabing steroids, pag nabasa mo sa exam steroids, anong unang mo maaalala? What are the examples of steroids? Favorite niya sa board exam. Yung mga steroids na yan. Pag nakita mo, this is steroids, naku, anong ini-expect mo sa multiple choice? Steroids are what, children? These are actually what? We are referring to what? Hormones. Excellent. Ray Mark Magleo and everybody, and Judith and Carlos Katrina, they all answered what? Hormones. Children, sabi ko favorite ito sa board exam. Local at saka international certification exam. Nako, favorite ang steroids. If these are hormones, then what are the examples of steroids? Estrogen, testosterone, progesterone, aldosterone, cortisol. Estrogen, progesterone, testosterone, aldosterone, cortisol. These are examples of what? Steroids. Next. And, ma'am, nakalagay dyan gas. Dapat mo ang sample natin gas? Oh, we can use liquid samples. Serum, plasma, whole blood, urine, and other biological fluids. As long as it can be converted to a gas. Because when you use a gas chromatography, there is a system in the gas chromatography. There are columns in the gas chromatography equipment that will convert the liquid to gas. Take note. In other words, this is used for volatile compounds. Ma, bakit ka aka-underline, Dr. Rodriguez, yung volatile? Ibig mo sabihin, merong chromatography, best for non-volatile naman. This one detects volatile compounds. Take note of that. It can be volatilized. Ay, so yung blood, yung urine, yung OBF, pwede mo pala siyang gamitin liquid, pwede mong gamitin na sample as long as it can be volatilized. MS, i-emphasize ko lang. Ma'am, kaya pala si MS, pwede mo i-pair kay GC because MS truly requires gas chromatography. Tama. This is based again on fragmentation and ionization of molecules. Children, the only analytical method with fragmentation, MS. And ma'am, is it true that MS is the only analytical method with ionization? MALDI is with ionization. The I in MALDI is ionization. But the fragmentation, currently etong nag-uusap lang tayo na to, eto lang nag-uusap tayo. Currently, the only analytical method with fragmentation is mass spectrometry. Kaya pag ionization, naku, wag ka agad mag-shade. Tignan mo muna, is it fragmentation and ionization? MS. Is it desorption and ionization? That is MALDI. Take note. GCMS, you put them together, that is the gold standard. Ma'am, si gas chromatography ba gold standard sa drug testing? No. Ma'am, si MS ba gold standard sa drug testing? Never. It should be GC and MS. You put them together, that is the only time it is the reference method. The most specific, the most sensitive, the gold standard in both therapeutic drug testing and prohibited drug testing, or prohibited drug testing, or the testing of the prohibited drugs. Take note of that. Of course, tatanungin mo, Ma'am, which between GC and MS is responsible for the identification of the drug present in the sample, whether it is therapeutic or prohibited drug. Kasi kapag sinabi mong gold standard, confirmatory method yan. Definitive method yan. So, which is the method for identification? Para lang guys, lumawak ha, ito, mapaulit-ulit, may steroids pa sa taas, para lang clear. This one also determines xenobiotics, anabolic steroids, and even pesticides. Take note of that. You add it in your notes, please. It also determines xenobiotics, anabolic steroids, and even pesticides. Amazing. So therefore, which is involved in identification. In fairness, may sagot na agad si Justin Ann Amara. Excellent yung answer niya. Ang tanong ko kasi, which between GC and MS is involved in identification of the drug of interest, the steroid of interest, the alcohol of interest, the xenobiotics, the pesticide? Let us see. The gas chromatography or even other chromatographies, isa lang po ang purpose, to separate the analyte of interest from the rest of the analytes present in the sample. Ma'am, di ba pag kumuha ka ng syrup, ang daming analytes doon? Urine, whatever biological fluids, ang dami. So what is the purpose of chromatography? To separate the analyte of interest. Ma'am, after separation, ano po susunod? That is the reason why meron na po tayong HPLC MS, LC MS, GC MS, because the MS is for determination. The GC, the chromatography is for separation. Pero ano ang favorite partner ni MS? The GC. Huwag mong kakalimutan yan. It allows, the molecular fragmentation allows identification of the analyte of interest by comparing the fragmented pattern of the analyte of interest against the known fragmentation patterns that are embedded in the computer library of the MS instrument. Ibig mo sabihin, meron na tayong template ng known fragmentation patterns? Meron. Tapos po kung ano yung result ng MS at that time will be compared with that computer library of known fragmented patterns. Check. So, ma'am, ang tunay na confirmatory method ng the real confirmatory method in drug testing is molecular fragmentation. No. It is both GC and MS because GC provides the specificity. Imagine if it is just pure molecular fragmentation, edi fragment na lahat. Edi naging non-specific yun. So the purpose of separating is to make the method specific. Because when you separate only the analyte of interest, then that is a specific, they are most specific because you have the GC. That is involved in separation. So hindi pwedeng GC lang. Hindi pwedeng MS lang. It should be GC and MS, the confirmatory method in drug testing. But you know, pag tinanong ka sa board exam specifically, which one is involved in identification? The molecular fragmentation. That is MS. Oops, wala ito sa book mo. Ito yung isang hinabol ko na children na wala. Na-stress ako, promise. HPLC. Take note. The HPLC, the high performance liquid chromatography. Ma'am, pwede rin po siyang maging HPLC MS. Oh yes, pwede mong idagdag ang MS. Okay? It uses pressure for faster separation of analytes. Para saan, ma'am, si HPLC? It is actually ideal for drug testing, specifically separation of tricyclic antidepressants. Tricyclic antidepressants are psychoactive drugs. These drugs are part of therapeutic drug monitoring. Controlled drugs yan, guys. It is also used for detection of prohibited drugs, such as cocaine and heroin and urine samples. What else? Take a photo, please. Ay, nawala. The HPLC. Kaya pagtanungin sa exam, what is the ideal chromatographic method for separation of antidepressants, specifically tricyclic antidepressants, HPLC? What else? How about the liquid chromatography, MS? It is utilized for detecting, the non-volatile compounds. GC, volatile compounds. LCMS, non-volatile compounds in body fluids, and it is used both as a screening and confirmatory methods. Do not forget that. In fact, it is a complementary method to GCMS. Other uses, hormone assay, micronutrient study, aside from TDM, aside from drug development, guys, aside from testing the prohibited drugs, naku, pag tinanong ito sa exam, what is that chromatographic method? It is best for analysis of mixed polarity samples. The vitamin D, the testosterone, and immunosuppressants are known as mixed polar samples. Take a photo, please, people. Ma'am, what is the confirmatory method for measurement of therapeutic drugs? GCMS. Ma'am, what is the confirmatory method for confirming the definite, most sensitive, and most specific for identification of the prohibited drugs? GCMS. Complementary method, LCMS. Tandaan natin, non-volatile compounds ito. Yung isa, volatile compounds. Mixed polarity analysis, that is one of the features, distinct characteristic of LCMS. Take a photo, people. Then, how about fluorometry? Thank you, Lord. Fluorometry, do not forget. Oh, balik na naman tayo sa light. Take note, ha? It determines the amount of light emitted by a molecule after excitation by electromagnetic radiation. Children, pag nabasa mo yung principle na yan, kung exam ngayon, binigyan ka ng choice, it determines the amount of light emitted by molecule after excitation by electromagnetic radiation. This principle follows A, B, C, D. Sabi sa exam. Or may kasama pa letter E. Children, pag nabasa mo yung light emitted, kanino siya kapareho? Maiisip po ba agad fluorometry? Pag nabasa mo, it determines the amount of light emitted, fluorometry agad. Spectrophotometry, may sumagot ng spectrophotometry. Actually, pag nakita mo yung word na excitation, amount of light emitted by molecule after excitation, actually it is what? Flame emission photometry. Excellent. Kimberly Bote and Ray Mark Magleo and Rubia Remy Jane. Excellent. They all answered flame emission photometry or simply flame photometry. Ma'am, bakit mo ba sa amin ina-emphasize yan? Kailangan, sabi, gusto mo mag-top 1 sa board exam. Ma'am, top 2, okay lang. Pag gusto mo mag-top 2 sa board exam. Remember, children, basahin mo maiging question. Huwag agad mag-shade. Pag sinabi mong flame photometry, take note that it determines excitation by heat. It determines the concentration of analyte through excitation using heat. Ito, excitation by electromagnetic radiation. Yun ang Q, electromagnetic radiation. Do not forget that. Next, it measures the amount of light intensity kasi amount of light emitted. It measures light intensity over, oh my goodness gracious, zero background. My gosh. This one measures light intensity over a zero background. Alam mo, may nag-share sa akin ng children, may mga reviewers na mga faculty reviewers natin sa Pioneer, sabi nila, naku, alam mo ba din, may lumabas sa exam, eksakto na yung sinabi mo, hindi na raw analysis, memorization nila. Ano yung part? What is that analytical method that depends on measurement of light intensity over a zero background? I said, oh, that is fluorometry. Take note. Light sources, we can use xenon lamp, we can use mercury arc. Pag sinabi mong xenon lamp, at saka mercury lamp, or the mercury arc, measurement is using ultraviolet region. These are ultraviolet sources, ultraviolet light sources. So in other words, fluorometry is best if you're going to read, analyze in the UV region. Well, nung unang lumabas ang fluorometer, that is the instrument, actually this is used for measurement of hormones, just like catecholamines, and also measurement of ions like calcium and magnesium. Guys, alam ko na tatanungin mo ako, Mom, di ba sa calcium and magnesium, unexcited ions? How come we can measure calcium and magnesium using fluorometer? This is excitation by radiation, not excitation by heat. Ang iron ng calcium and magnesium, excitation by heating. Ito ay excitation by radiation. But still, what is the reference method for measurement of calcium and magnesium? Not fluorometry. What is the answer? AAS. Kaya guys, napapansin mo ha, lahat ng binibigay ko sa yung analytical method, my purpose. I didn't just say it. Fluorometry is for hormones and also for electrolytes. What else? Unique characteristic of fluorometer, the instrument, there are two monochromators. Oh my gosh. Mom, are you saying this is the only instrument with two monochromators? So far, yes. This is the only instrument with two monochromators. The primary monochromator is known as an excitation monochromator. It selects the wavelength for a specific measurement, guys. Kaya nakalagay dyan, isolates a specific light. That is the role of the primary monochromator. The role of the secondary monochromator, known as the emission monochromator. Ano sabi mo? Kaya pala nalilito na ako. Sabi ko, measurement of light emitted, tapos meron pa excitation. Kasi po dalawa ang monochromators. There is an emission monochromator, that is the specific monochromator. And we have that is the excitation monochromator, and the emission monochromator prevents the stray light. Mom, nakalagay dyan, prevents the incident light. Incident light is also known as stray light. And what is that monochromator in fluorometer that prevents the stray light? That is the emission monochromator. That is the secondary monochromator. Naku, wag mo kakalimutan, guys, unique characteristic yan ng fluorometer. Ano pa, children? Siyempre, tatanungin mo yan, Mom, di ba apat ang monochromators, diffraction gratings, holo gratings, then prism, then filter. Mom, ano po sa apat na yon? Best monochromator in fluorometer, the filter. Two filters. Take note. A fluorometer use a filter monochromator. Tandaan guys, it actually uses a filter. It utilizes a filter monochromator. Mom, hindi po pwedeng isang prism, isang filter? No. Isang gratings, isang filter? No. It should be two filters. One will act as the primary monochromator. The other one is your secondary monochromator. Remember, the sharp cut of filter that prevents stray light. What else? Page 29, quenching effect affects fluorometry. What is quenching? Due to sudden change in pH, sudden change in temperature, presence of contaminants, presence of extreme UV light. Hindi naman maganda yung sobra-sobra. Okay? What else? Ops, wala ito sa book mo. Mayroon pang Stokes effect. Si quenching, it affects fluorometry. Stokes effect also affects fluorometry. What is this? It is the difference between the maximum wavelength, excitation, and emitted fluorescence. And emitted fluorescence. Both favorite ang quenching. Baka sa'yo exam mo naman, si Stokes effect naman ang itanong children. Fluorometry pa rin yan. It influences fluorometry. It interferes in fluorometric measurement. Tandaan mo si fluorometry. Excitation by electromagnetic radiation. Measurement of light emitted using excitation by electromagnetic radiation. Not only that, light intensity is measured over a zero background with two monochromators. What is chemiluminescence? Nako, ikino-compare po ito kay fluorometry. Ma'am, bakit sila kino-compare na dalawa? O, sa title pa lang ha. Ano ibig sabihin ng chemiluminescence? The light that is used in the measurement is actually coming from the chemical reaction. The emission of light is created from a chemical reaction or electrochemical reaction. Ma'am, ibig mo pong sabihin, si chemiluminescence analyzer does not employ a light source? Wala po siyang light source. Wala. Si fluorometer, si nephelometer, si flame photometer use flame as the light source. Spectrophotometer, lahat po may light sources. Si chemiluminescence analyzer, no light source, no monochromator. Porque walang light source, wala na rin monochromator. Because the purpose of the monochromator is to isolate light coming from the light source. Wala siyang isolate. So, wala rin siyang monochromator. Saan ang galing, ma'am, yung light? Because chemiluminescence is measurement also of light intensity. The light came from the chemical reaction. What else? Oh, ma'am, kaya pala siya compare kay fluorometry. Ano nakalagay dito? The measurement of light signal is against a dark background. Fluorometry is against zero background. Ma'am, bakit dark background? Wala po kasi siyang light source. So, iintayin pa ma'am magkaroon ng chemical reaction to have a light? Truly. Since no excitation light is required, so it is measurement of analyte against a dark background. This is used in immunoassay. Children, pagdating natin ng immunology, papahabain ko pa yung chemiluminescence niyan. Basta sa ngayon, hanggang dyan lang muna tayo. Utay-utay. No monochromators, no light source, measurement of light signal. Light signal is the concentration of the analyte against a dark background. No monochromator because no light source. This is used in immunoassay. This is used in autoantibody measurement. Write it, please. The most advantage of chemiluminescence is measurement of autoantibodies. Papahabain ko yan parating natin sa endocrinology and therapeutic drug monitoring. Basta ngayon, simple lang muna. Measurement of autoantibodies. Also used in hormonal assay. Also in measurement of therapeutic drugs and the drugs of abuse. We also use chemiluminescence. Drugs of abuse, that is toxicology. Therapeutic drug monitoring, hormonal assay, autoantibody measurement. What else? Proteomics. Ito yung isang nawala. Please, mamula ito sa book. You have to take a photo later. It is basically the study of proteins in aid of disease diagnosis. That is proteomics. It involves the characterization of complete set of proteins in whatever human sample, in whatever human cell organ. It is also used in microbiology because it can characterize the proteins, the entire protein makeup in any microorganism. Oh my goodness gracious. This is so important. It determines the actual real-time condition of the proteins in every cell. Ma'am, bakit nakasama si organ? Children, anong tinuro sa ating sa anatomy? Every organ is made up of tissues. Every tissue is actually composed of what? Cells. And what is the basic functional unit in every human species? Bakit ka nag-function? Because of the cellular energy. Remember that. The ATP is present in every cell. So what is the basic functional unit of every human species? Paano ka nakakapag-function? Paano nakakapag-lecture si Madam? Paano tayo nakakapag-isip? Because of our cellular functions. And definitely, ano nakalagay dito? Proteomics is after the cellular functions. The characterization of the complete set of proteins present in every organ, in every tissue, and in every cell, even the proteins in microorganisms. May bottom-up proteomics, may top-down proteomics, may shotgun proteomics. Mama, anong samples? Oh, I'm sorry, children. Mama, anong samples gagamitin natin dyan? Blood, whole blood, serum, plasma, urine, tissue extract, and other body fluids. Mom, are you telling us that in clinical chemistry, gumagamit na tayo ng tissue extract? Yes, because of proteomics, because of mass spectrometry. True or false? MS is also essential in proteomics. True or false? MS is also essential in proteomics. It is also embedded in proteomics. It's also added in proteomics. It's like proteomics MS. True or false? Ibig mo sabihin, si chromatography may MS, si proteomics may MS din? That is my question. Is it true? Or is it false that MS, mass spectrometry, is also needed in proteomics? True or false? True. Excellent. Miss Christine Calbrinas and Judith Bautista, they both answered true. Huwag mong kalilimutan yan. Guys, tanungin ko nga kayo ha. I want to know this. Nung third year at fourth year, especially sa third year kasi talaga ito eh. Did you discuss proteomics? MS, TOF, tandem MS, yes or no? Write in the chat box, anong diniscuss mo nung third year? Proteomics, tandem MS, MS, TOF. MS lang po, may nagsabi. Sabi ni Justin Ann Amar, Mom, MS lang po. Alam mo, actually, children, nabanggit ito lahat eh. Kaya lang, naiintindihan ko kung nakalimutan nyo. Kasi nga may pinagdadaanan tayo noon. That's why we call this review. Kaya wag kang mai-stress mo ba yung di sa amin tinuro yan ng third year. Tinuro yan. Sa third year kasi talaga ito, guys eh. Take note of that. What else? Oh, tanda mo ang sample. Wag mo kalilimutan. Okay, may nag-good morning na. Additional in proteomics. Make sure take a photo, guys ha. What else? Oops. Proteomics also, high-resolution mass spectrometers are often used to improve. Bakit mayroong MS sa proteomics? To improve the specificity of highly charged peptides and proteins. Huwag kalilimutan. When coupled with chromatography and MS, when coupled with chromatography and mass ratio, Mom, ano po yung mass ratio? MS. Tatandaan mo yan. Clinical chemistry is analysis. If you notice, ang dami ko sa yung binibigay na terminologies. Mom, tinanong sa boarding sa mass ratio. Relax, MS yan. Mass spectrometry. Proteomics is a reliable method for amino acid sequencing. When coupled with chromatography and MS, then proteomics is a reliable method for amino acid sequencing. It was mentioned by McPherson and Pincus, Henry's book, Clinical Diagnosis and Management, 24th edition, copyright 2022. Therefore, let us summarize. What is the purpose of proteomics? Proteome profiling. Mom, ano yung proteome? Protein. Proteomics is basically the study of proteins. Cellular level, tissue level, organ level, and microorganisms. Comparative expression analysis of two or more proteins, localization, and even the study of protein-protein interactions. Do not forget these people. Take a photo, please. Basically, the study of proteins in every cell. Our body weight is 70% proteins. Take note. Oops, it aims also to catalog the entire protein products of the human genome. May isa pang pahabol. I'm sorry. It aims also to catalog the entire protein products of the human genome. Mom, ibig mo sabihin ko na delete yun, hindi mo nasabi yan. Masasabi ko pero sobrang hirap on your part. Because isusulat mo lahat. So stressful, children. Kaya kanina hinabol ko to in 30 minutes. I hope I was able to give justice to this proteomics and the rest. Next. Ito pa yung isang nawala. Metabolomics. Mom, dinidiscuss na ba yan? Nasa John Bernard Henry yan, copyright 2022. Baka mabasa na. Siyempre po, babasahin ng ating Board of Examiners yan. Baka itanong po sa atin. Kasi ina-expect nila, itinuro sa atin si metabolomics. What is metabolomics? Metabolic profiling. What is proteomics? Protein profiling. The comprehensive analysis of metabolites in a biological specimen. Comprehensive. Lahat ng sample, ng analytes sa iyong sample. Comprehensive analysis. What is the purpose of metabolomics? They capable of precise analysis of hundreds to thousands of metabolites. Kasi children, pag sinabi, do you have a machine or method for measurement of this vitamin? Or how do you call it, trace elements? Wala. Or this not so familiar protein? Wala. Oh my God. there is metabolomics now. Huwag mo nang mag-take ng picture. Mama, anong tatandaan namin sa metabolomics? My goodness gracious, great balls of fire. The very advantage of metabolomics children is that this is best for measuring those analytes with very small size. Can you just imagine? Less than 2 kDa or even less than 1 kDa. Such as the amino acids, the nucleotides, the antioxidants, and vitamins. Mom, in micronutrient study, we use metabolomics? Exactly. Di ba sabi, uy, wala po kayong method for measurement ng vitamin na to? Wala. Oh, we have now metabolomics. It seeks to find differences within biological samples, and it identifies a significant subset of metabolites that can differentiate disease states. Ibig sabihin, ma'am, both the proteomics and metabolomics are the new analytical methods for disease diagnosis. Ay, kung hindi ko isasama to dito. Of course, the proteomics and metabolomics are new analytical methods for disease diagnosis. Do not ever forget that. But the metabolomics, it has a distinct feature. It measures the very small metabolites that other analytical methods cannot determine. Meaning, this is very sensitive in terms of the measurement of analytes based on size. Okay, what else? So therefore, when you put together the proteomics and metabolomics, they provide an assessment into the complexity of a disease. True or false? Proteomics and metabolomics are used now in cancer, in measurement of cancer markers. True or false? Ma'am, pwede pong pabilik yung metabolomics? Okay. Napaka-importante nung tinanong ko na yung children, ha? Is it true that the proteomics and the metabolomics are used now in measurement of cancer markers? Nakita niyo ba yung pagkatapon? Nakuha na po naman ang picture, Iha. Okay? What is the answer? Of course. Yes. Do not forget that. True. Okay? You're welcome, Ms. Francis Maytagores. True. It's not only in cancer marker measurement, also used in drug development. Also used in measurement of therapeutic drugs that are so minute in size and so minute in concentrations, children. And proteins that are unknown, sabi na nila, ay, may ganun pala protein. Oh, proteomics. Ay, napakaliit naman ng analyte. Metabolomics. That's why this is best for cancer studies. Take note of that. Drug development, metabolomics. Therapeutic drug monitoring, metabolomics. Oh my goodness. Do not forget the children. Next, electrochemistry techniques, page 31. Okay, under electrochem techniques, matagal ng method ito. Pero, may nag-good morning na guys sa aking phone. Kailangan tapusin natin ito. Lord, please help me. Tinawag na si Lord. Electrochemistry techniques. Oh, mom, ang dami ng methods. Ay, madali lang yan. What is based on excitation versus separation versus migration versus dissociation? Light intensity. Is it over zero background or is it over dark background? Nako. Or light intensity using narrower wavelength. Tatandaan mo lahat ng principle na yun, children. Or are we after measuring the total protein profiling cellularly? Or you're after measurement of minute analytes, not in concentration, but size. Metabolomics. There is measurement based on the speed of the analyte, time of life. Oh, molecular fragmentation. That is MS. Do not forget that. Volatile compounds versus the non-volatile compounds. My goodness, chromatography. Electrochemistry techniques sa title pala. We use electric current, children. So therefore, how do we measure the blood pH, the blood gases? Oops. Pang ilang electrolytes na to? Flame photometry, AAS, fluorometry for measurement of electrolytes. Do not forget that Proteins, oh my God, turbidimetry, nephelometry, electrophoresis, proteomics. Do not forget that those are proteins. How about measurement of routine analytes in chemistry? Spectrophotometry. Antibodies measurement, nephelometry. Binigay ko ang use every analytical method. And electrochemistry techniques, oh, blood pH, blood gases, meron pang electrolytes. Not only electrolyte present in serum, but also electrolyte present in sweat. Do not forget that even glucose, even toxic element like lead, use electrochemistry technique. Potentiometry is measurement of differences in voltage at a constant current. It follows the Nernst equation. Huwag mo nang i-memorize ang Nernst equation. Tandaan mo lang na ang kanyang purpose is measurement of blood pH and partial carbon dioxide and electrolytes. Do not forget that measurement of blood pH, the PCO2, and the electrolytes. Sinabi ko PCO2 ha, hindi ko po sinabing blood gases. Minsan, guys, one thing that I observed among millennials is that you are over-analyzing the question. Kung ano ang question, sagutin natin. Ang tanong sa iyo, partial carbon dioxide. Ang nasa mind mo, blood gas. Let us freshen our minds before the board examination and let us not over-analyze the question. Ang haba-haba na narating mo, ang tanong lang pala, PCO2. What is the answer? Potentiometry. Blood pH, potentiometry. Electrolytes, potentiometry. Reference electrodes are electrodes with a constant voltage. Do not forget that. It is an electrode with a constant voltage. Example, the saturated calomel is the external electrode. The silver chloride is the internal electrode. Take note of that. And, ang question, ma'am, saan po ginagamit si calomel, saturated calomel, tsaka silver chloride? Oh, that is used for measurement of blood pH and also for measurement of PCO2. Ma'am, how about, ayan ang itsura niya, guys. Okay? Ganyan ang itsura niya, children. Si silver chloride at saka si glass pH electrode yung nasa right. The glass pH electrode. Ma'am, what is the purpose of the glass pH electrode? The saturated calomel, the silver chloride, and the glass pH electrode, remember, these electrodes are used in measurement of blood pH and PCO2. Blood pH and PCO2. Ma'am, the glass pH electrode is also used for measurement of blood gas, PCO2. Check. They are reference electrodes. How about for electrolytes? Okay. Kasi hindi tayo nagkaroon ng actual internship, so hindi natin napansin yung instrument na yan. What is that? Ion selective electrode. Children, klarado sa libro ko ha, klaradong sa libro. Ion selective electrode is under potentiometry. Do not ever forget that. And ion selective electrode is the most commonly used method for measurement currently of electrolytes. Currently, the routine method for measurement of electrolytes, not flame, not AAS, not fluorometry, ISE, which is under potentiometry. I said the routine method currently. But bakit tawag na ion selective? Its ionic selectivity depends in the membrane or barrier composition. Do not forget that. The ionic selectivity depends in the membrane or barrier composition. That is the reason why, if it is aluminum silicate ISE membrane, para kanino po si aluminum silicate ISE membrane? Sodium. Valinomycin ISE membrane, potassium. Ay, kaya pala ma'am, ion selective electrode. Truly. Ma'am, si valinomycin ISE will not react on chloride, sodium, calcium. Only for, take note, potassium. Huwag mong kalilimutan. Next, ano pa tatandaan natin dito, children? Direct ISE and there is an indirect ISE. Naku, kalimutan to, children. The direct ion selective electrode, that is used in point of care testing. Yan yung portable, yung cartridge-based ISE testing. That is direct ISE. However, In automated, fully automated chemistry analyzer, it is the indirect ISE that is utilized. In POCT, direct ISE. Mom, which is commonly used, direct or indirect? Siyempre, indirect kasi automated analyzer. Kung pag-uusapin natin yung loob ng ospital, that is indirect. Basahin ang question. Kung POCT, how will you measure electrolytes using ISE? Direct ISE. Do not forget that. And just emphasize, the glass electrode is not only for measurement of pH, it is also for measurement of partial carbon dioxide. What else? Reading materials. Take a photo, please, para lang magkaroon ka ng added reading. Kasi alam ko, baka nakalimutan mo na ito. Dahil madami tayong pinagdaanan. Children, take a photo, please. The reading materials. What is the principle and complete explanation of direct ISE? Okay, are you done? Let's move on to indirect. Hindi ko na no need to discuss that, guys, as self-explanatory kasi yan. Dapat dinidiscuss yan sa third year. Ma, bakit mo pa sa amin pinakita? Kasi baka makalimutan mo. Tapos itanong yan sa... Every question in the board is important. Which one requires dilution of sample? Indirect ISE is with sample dilution. Indirect, wala. However, kaya mag-realize mo, kaya pala si direct ISE, ma'am, ang point of care because you don't require dilution. Correct. Take note, that is integrated and automated analyzer. Basahin mo yan, children, para relax ka sa board exam. Hindi pwede po tayong nanghuhula. Take note, ito ang nasa automated analyzer. That is so specific. I'm a very specific professor, guys. We have to specify it. Okay? Next, coulometry. This is the second analytical method. I'm sorry, second electrochemistry technique. Well, this one measures the amount of electricity and the endpoint of coulometry. The endpoint of coulometry is detected by amperometry. It is detected by amperometry. Kaya guys, sa ISE, mag-ingat sa question na ISE is under potentiometry. ISE is for electrolyte measurement. And that is the currently used method, routine method, children. Huwag mong kakalimutan yan. Very important. Okay? Pagdating natin sa electrolytes, magkakaroon pa ako ng specific discussion sa ISE. Pag nasa electrolytes na, basta yun ay general discussion yan para hindi ka maguguluhan. Okay? Direct, point of care. Indirect, that is commonly used in fully automated analyzer. Endpoint is detected by amperometry. Moment of purpose coulometry is also starts with letter C. This is for measurement of chloride, not only in serum, but also in sweat and CSF. Measurement of chloride, not only in serum, but also in CSF. Well, it follows the Faraday's law. Wag mahaba pa si Faraday's law. Tandaan mo lang, it follows the Faraday's law, Lord. Wag nang itanong pa kung ano yung Faraday's law na yan sa board exam, please. Kawawa naman ang mga kiddos. Just remember, it follows the Faraday's law. Do not forget that. What else? And how about, guys, question, ma'am, bakit may sweat? Well, remember that sweat chloride test is considered the diagnostic test for cystic fibrosis. Remember that. The sweat chloride test is diagnostic test, guys, for cystic fibrosis. Always remember that. No? Alam natin yan. And pilocarpine drug is a sweat inducer. It is a drug that is administered into skin of patients to induce sweating. Kasi hindi naman po tayo basta-basta pinapawisan. So how do we collect sweat sample for cystic fibrosis test? O kailangan po natin ng sweat inducer. And that is pilocarpine. Then later there is a patch attached on the skin of the patient to collect the sweat, to measure the sweat electrolytes. What are the sweat electrolytes that are considered markers in the diagnosis of cystic fibrosis? The sodium and the chloride. Kaya pag sinabi mong sweat electrolyte markers in cystic fibrosis, we have the sodium and the chloride. Huwag kalilimutan, guys. That is so important. And what else, guys? Then we have amperometry. Amperometry is again measurement of current. Ma'am, parang napapansin ko puro current. Potentiometry is measurement of current. Correct. Coulometry is measurement of electricity, which is again current. Check. And amperometry is again measurement of current. Check. Iba-iba lang sila ng purpose. Children, polarography is under amperometry. Parati kong sinasabi yan. Polarography is under amperometry. Polarography is a method under amperometry. And polarography is the specific method that measures the partial oxygen and also measures serum glucose. In fact, subukan mo, buklatin mo yung book mo, tignan mo yung chapter ng carbohydrates, may mapapansin ka, ay, merong method, polarographic glucose oxidase. We can measure glucose using what? Electric current. Potentiometry, measurement of partial carbon dioxide. Polarography, measurement of partial oxygen. Ma'am, paano pag wala sa choices? Ang simple-simple ng tanong. Which of the following method measures partial oxygen? Ma'am, walang polarography. Question, meron bang amperometry? Ay, oo. Check. Ma'am, may tanong din, which of the following methods measures sweat chloride? Ma'am, wala pong coulometry. Meron bang amperometry? Ma'am, bakit amperometry? Because the endpoint of coulometry, guys, if you want to measure the absolute concentration, it includes amperometry. There is amperometry in coulometry. Coulometry and amperometry measures the sweat chloride and also the chloride in other biological fluids. Huwag mong kalilimutan. That is so important. Mapula sa choices si amperometry, ang tanong partial oxygen, polarography ang answer. Ayun ang una. Pero pag walang polarography, amperometry ang answer mo. Do not forget, it follows the Ilkovic equation. The measurement of chloride in samples involves the use of two electrochemical methods. Naku po, huwag mong kakalimutan yan. That is coulometry and amperometry. Ine-emphasize ko lang, children, clinical chemistry is analysis. Always remember that there are two measurements of sweat chloride, okay? We have the coulometry and amperometry, and even CSF and even serum. We can use the two, coulometry and amperometry. Hindi lang siya sa sweat, pwede din sa serum, pwede rin sa other biological fluids. This is measurement of, again, of current. This is a very sensitive method. Why? Because it measures very low analyte concentrations. In fact, this is designed for measurement of toxins, just like lead. Specifically, the name of the voltammetric method, anodic stripping voltammetry, is designed for measurement of heavy metals such as lead. Potentiometry, coulometry, amperometry, and under amperometry, polarography, and voltammetry. Chloride measurement use two methodologies, electrochemical two methodologies. It starts with coulometry, it ends with amperometry. We cannot reverse that. It starts with coulometry, it ends with amperometry. Do not forget that. Ma'am, pwede po. Naku, ang haba ng proteomics. Children, pwede bang pakishare nyo kay Miss Maria Julia Talia Haka? Okay, yung ating slides, sa kanyo nyo lang i-share, hindi sa iba ha. Kay Miss Haka lang ha. Maria Julia Talia Haka, the proteomics, ang haba na kasi niyan. Yung amperometry pwede kong ibalik, pero yung proteomics medyo mahaba na. Okay, sorry ha. May I ask one of you to share it with Miss? Sa kanya lang ha. Hindi outside ditong perk discussion natin, guys. Look at my eyes. Okay? That is, share it please to Miss Maria Julia Talia Haka, the proteomics. Ilang kasing slides yun? I think two. Okay? This is amperometry. Do not forget that, people. Okay, let's start. Then we have instrumentation. For the instrumentation, madali lang ito. Children, nabanggit ko na, yung mechanical pipettes mo, dapat kinakalibrate mo yan. Kundi magkakaroon ng systematic error. Remember that pinahabol can add on notes, ha? Reading materials yun. Air displacement is the most commonly used automatic pipette or mechanical pipette. And how would you know it is an air displacement? Meron siyang tips. Lahat ng mechanical pipette with disposable tips, how do we call them? Air displacement. Ma'am, why are you emphasizing the tips? Are you saying, ma'am, May nagre-request. Total, isa lang ito ha. Total, isa lang ito, children. Madali lang. Voltammetry. Pag masyado kasing malayo, children, magugulo na tayo doon. Okay? So, this is the voltammetry. May nagre-request ng voltammetry. That's it. Do not forget, consumes minimal analyte, unlike coulometry. Kaya sinabi ko, children, that this is a very sensitive analyte. Take note of that. What else? And how about, I said, the mechanical or automatic pipettes, this is air displacement. Take note. Yung mga may books, nasa books na itong binabanggit kong ito ha, except those that I said you have to take a photo. Yun lang. Yung sinasabi ko lang, take a photo ha. Relies on piston for suction to draw the sample into a tip because the positive displacement does not contain any tip. Number one, yung distinguishing characteristic. Ma'am, wala siyang disposable tip. But remember, this can be used also in clinical chemistry. Ma'am, how do we avoid carry-over contamination? Well, a positive displacement pipette, it has a barrel-like plastic that you have to dispose every time you change reagent and sample. Mom, you mean like the barrel of the syringe? Yes. That big? Yes. Oh my God. So that is expensive, Mom, compared to air displacement. Truly. That's why the most common is mechanical pipette is the air displacement because you just need to replace the tip, not the 2/3 of your mechanical pipette. Because when you say the barrel, the barrel in positive displacement pipette, 2/3 na yun ng size ng positive displacement. So, ang mahal ng barrel na yun. So, most common pa rin si air displacement. What else? And take note that CLSI has provided an acceptable procedure for determining pipette accuracy and precision that is under 18-P NCCLS, Knuckles, 1984. Ano ibig sabihin nun? Well, there is a specific procedure for determining pipette accuracy and precision, and that is under 18P Knuckles 1984 guideline. Take note. What else? Another thing, according to standards, every piece of volumetric glassware in the clinical laboratory should be coded and a record kept of its calibration. Kahit hindi mo na isulat yan, alam mo yan, ginagawa talaga natin yan. Kung ikaw ay on-site ka ng 2 taon, so nakita mo may record ang mga volumetric glassware. May mga code yung mga glassware natin, beaker, pipette, Erlenmeyer flask, my code. Any piece of glassware that does not meet the Class A guideline should be disposed. Take note, any piece of glassware that does not meet Class A guideline should be disposed. Class A is the guideline that we use generally in saying that this glassware should be kept, this glassware should be rejected. What else? And positive displacement micropipettes need to have their spring checked and the Teflon tip checked and replaced periodically. The Teflon tip should be replaced periodically. Ma'am, sabi mo wala siyang tip. Wala siyang disposable tip. Walang disposable tip. But just like any other pipette, meron siyang tip, but not disposable. Take note of that. That is not disposable. Kano nakalagay dito? You have to replace it periodically kasi masisira din yan. Okay? Take note. Under positive displacement micropipette. Reading materials. Take a photo, please. Basahin mo lang siya. We don't need to discuss it. Baka itanong ka sa board exam. I am sure it was discussed in CC1. Mom, absent po ako ng discussion yung pipette. O, huwag ka nang malungkot. Meron tayong tinatawag na forward mode. That is the standard. And there is a what? Reverse mode. Oh my God. Read it again. Pipetting technique yan. What else? And take this photo again to further explain the forward mode and the reverse mode. Mom, bakit kailangan namin basahin yan? Self-explanatory yan. Sa 3rd year yan dinidiscuss. Kaya ako lang nilagay dito para i-remind ka. Baka mamaya makalimutan mo, hindi mo buklatin yung manual mo o yung notes mo ng 3rd year. Ay, oo nga, may forward mode. Tsaka ma'am, tinanong sa board exam. O, relax. Pinapaalala ko sa'yo, there is a pipetting technique known as forward mode, that is the standard, and the reverse mode, that is the alternate. And automation in clinical chemistry, naku, madali lang ang automation sa clinical chem, page 35. We have centrifugal analyzer. There are 3 types of automation: continuous flow analyzer, centrifugal analyzer, discrete analyzer. Dalawa lang po ang i-discuss ko because ang continuous flow analyzer, hindi na masyado siyang pinapurchase sa chemistry. Because the number 1 disadvantage of continuous flow analyzer, wasteful of reagents. Sa title pa lang, continuous flow, ay oo nga. So therefore, most chemists, most laboratories, guys, hindi lang most all the laboratories globally, dalawa talaga ang analyzer sa chemistry, either centrifugal or discrete or both in one laboratory. Centrifugal analyzer, let us discuss the descriptions. Liquids are placed in separate cuvettes. 1 test, 1 cuvette. I didn't say 1 sample. Sample number 1 has 5 requests: glucose, choline, trigly, uric, creatinine. Ilan ang kailangan niyang cuvettes? 5, kasi centrifugal analyzer. Duplicate testing, then it needs 10 cuvettes. Take note. What else? Transfer of specimen. Bakit mo tinawag na centrifugal analyzer? Because it has a rotor. Rotor, just like the rotor of the centrifuge, yung paikot. Ay, ganun pala, ma'am. And while that rotor is rotating, centrifugal analyzer tayo. This is an example, yung machine na yan, guys. So ito, halimbawa ito naka-cursor na to. I-open mo yan, nandyan yung rotor. O kaya nasa gitna, o kaya nandito sa dulo. Depende sa pagkakadesign ng centrifugal analyzer. Naku, nakita mo, umiikot yung rotor. That is also the same time that there is transfer of specimen. And that rotor, guys, yung rotor na yan, nandun yung cuvettes. What else, children? Simply, what is the mixing process in the centrifugal analyzer? The acceleration and deceleration of the rotor. Take note. Example, the Cobas Roche, the maker of centrifugal analyzer. What is the major advantage of centrifugal analyzer? Batch analysis. All samples are loaded in this machine. Mapano po yung picture na nasa left? That was the first ever centrifugal analyzer. Actually, I was able to use that analyzer. The first ever. As in, guys. So, alam kong history ng centrifugal analyzer. Paano siya nag-evolve. Okay? OBS, major advantage ng centrifugal. That was the first chemistry instrument. That was the first Roche instrument I used 30 years ago. The batch analyzer, centrifugal analyzer. Okay? So, going back again, Ma'am, what do you mean by batch analysis? Major advantage. All samples loaded in this machine. Then you enter, you encode all the tests. You press start. So mag-start na yan. So ano yung sabihin ng batch? The measurement of samples according to test. Naka-program yung centrifugal analyzer. The first batch test, glucose. So you have 10 samples. Anong i-measure niya dyan? First batch test, glucose lang. Second batch test, cholesterol. Balik na naman sa specimen 1 hanggang 10. Puro cholesterol lang. Third batch test, triglyceride. Balik na naman sa specimen 1 up to 10. Puro triglyceride. We call that batch testing. So let's say, ma'am, specimen number 1 has 10 requests. Specimen number 10 has 1 request lang. Isa lang ang request ng glucose. Nauna pang ma-release yung number 10 sample. Late naman dumating yun, ma'am. Over the specimen 1? Kasi si specimen 10 is batch analysis. What is discrete analyzer? When you say discrete analyzer, most popular and versatile analyzer. Ako din gusto ko din discrete. What else? It employs a variety of syringe pipettes. Kasi nga hindi tayo nakapag-actual internship. Ano ba itsura ng syringe pipettes na yan? Pag nag-work ka na, nakita mo, ay, discrete analyzer, sabi ni Ma'am Rodriguez, meron siyang syringe pipettes. Pag imagine mo, ito yung platform, ito yung chemistry machine. Lumapit ka dito sa unahan. Ay, nakita mo, parang may mga pipette tips. Correct. Ang tawag mo doon, syringe pipettes. Every syringe pipette, 1 sample. So we can totally avoid carry-over contamination. Unlike other chemistry analyzers, they have what? Probe. It is a metal-like pipette used by machines and analyzers to aspirate sample. Kasi discrete, every sample, there is a syringe pipette. Tandaan natin yan. Pareho sila ng centrifugal. Every test, hindi every sample, every test, one cuvette. Reaction vessel is also known as cuvette. Take note. What else? And how about mixing? Well, hindi mo na nakikita yan. Nasa loob yan ng machine. There is a magnetic-driven Teflon. There is a steering paddle. It's like a very tiny spoon. Forceful dispensing of reagent onto the sample that is also part of the mixing process. If this centrifugal analyzer is batch analysis, this discrete analyzer is sequential testing. Take note of this. This is sequential testing. Huwag mong kalilimutan yan. What do you mean by sequential testing? All the tests in every given sample will all be measured before transferring to the next sequence. What is next sequence? Sample. Specimen 1, 10 requests. Tatapusin lahat ng discrete analyzer before transferring to specimen 2. Therefore, sequential testing is based on the order of samples. Batch testing is based on the order of tests. It has random access capability. What do you mean by random access capability? Ladies and gentlemen, what is that clinical chemistry analyzer with the ability to process stat sample ahead of the other samples? In other words, we can actually perform prioritization of samples. What is the answer? Discrete analyzer. Kaya most popular siya. Kaya versatile siya because though it has sequential testing, it also has RAC. What is that? Random access capability that can process stat samples ahead of the other samples. 10 ang samples na in-enter mo, in-encode mo sa iyong discrete analyzer. Pinrest mo na yung start. Ako, hindi mo pwedeng basta stop yan. Hindi kotse yan. You can just stop. Continuously working. Kung dumating yung start sample, number 11, coming from priority ward, ER, OR, RR, recovery room, ICU, CCU, neonatal intensive care unit, it should be prioritized. How can I do that? Walang problema. Discrete analyzer. O di i-centrifuge mo yung serum. O di pagka-centrifuge mo, lagay mo sa sample cup. O insert mo na sa number 11 receptacle. Enter mo. Sodium, potassium, crea, kung ano man yung stat order. O in-enter mo na. Discrete analyzer has a stat button. You have to press that stat button. I-click mo yun, nasa monitor yun. You're going to press that stat button. Click the stat button. What happened? After finishing specimen 1, sabi ko siya, 10 requests yan. After finishing 1, dapat number 2 sample kasi sequential. Pinrest mo kasi yung stat sa number 11. So, anong mangyayari? Random access capability. The probe will jump from specimen 1 to 11 because 11 is a stat sample. Priority sample. That is one great advantage of discrete analyzer. Random access capability. Examples of equipment, brand name, Vitros analyzer, okay? Orthodiagnostics. And we have dimension date. Meron sequential, may random access. Dry slide technology is under discrete analyzer. May picture ka guys ha. Dry slide technology is under discrete. Ma'am, ano ibig sabihin ng dry slide technology? Walang liquid reagents. Ma'am, ano ginamit namin reagent? Dry slide. Imagine mo yung picture na yan. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Parang kung titignan mo, 6 layers, no? Kasi meron ka pang unahan. Pero sa totoo lang, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 layers lang. Yung pinaka-6, yung pinaka-periphery. Ops. Ma'am, saan po under si dry slide technology? Discrete analyzer. Sequential testing? Yes. Random access capability? Yes. Bakit siya dry slide? Because you use dry reagents. Place in a slide. Ma'am, is it glass slide? Is it a microscopic glass slide? Children, pag nag-practice ka, makikita mo yung dry slide. Imagine mo ha, the size is like the size of a glass slide. A little bit larger and bigger. Pero halos ganun yung dimension na. Larger and bigger. What else? The center of the dry slide is like a filter paper. And that center has the reagent. With, pag dinisect mo yung mga layers, spreading, scavenger, reagent, indicator, support. What is this one? What is dry slide technology? Well, how do you measure, analyze? Measurement of light reflected from solid surfaces. Again, measurement of light reflected from solid surfaces. Mom, you mean this is a new technology? Naku, hindi. Matagal na 20 years ago. May dry slide technology. 25 years ago, palagay ko, mas earlier pa, may dry slide technology na. Ang tatandaan mo dito, measurement is through reflectance photometry. Transmitted light is measured here. Transmitted light is reflected light. Dry slide is under discrete analyzer. So all the features of discrete, meron si dry slide technology. Ang pagkakaiba lang, we use dry reagents placed in dry film or dry slide. Take a photo of the dry slide technology para alam mo ano yung scavenger layer, ano yung spreading layer, ano yung indicator layer, ano yung support layer. That's important. What else? Then, terminologies. What is open reagent system? Children, it's in your book, page 36. It is a system in which reagents other than the manufacturer's reagents can be used. Ano ibig sabihin niya? Tinanong ka sa board exam, which of the following is a correct statement regarding open reagent system? When you say open reagent system, it is an analyzer, a chemistry machine that can accept reagents other than the brand name of the machine. Example lang ito guys, hypothetical yung brand name ng machine mo, brand name Abbott, open reagent yon. Ano ibig sabihin ng open reagent Abbott analyzer? It can accept reagents other than Abbott reagents. It can accommodate reagents from third party. Ano iyon? Non-instrument manufacturer. Take note of that. Advantage, it provides flexibility. No, pwede na yung open reagent machine mo para ata wala na kasamang HDL measurement. Mom, can I add HDL? Check. It provides flexibility because that is open reagent. Hindi lang siya open reagent in the sense that it can accept other brands of reagents. You can also add other parameters. As a closed reagent, yun ang problema natin. Because when you say closed reagent, ano ibig sabihin ng closed reagent? Well, closed reagent means what? A system where the operator can only use the manufacturer's reagents. A system where the operator can only use the manufacturer's reagents. Do not forget that. Take note. What else? So self-explanatory. Abot ang machine, abot din po ang reagent, ma'am. Tama. This is preferred than the closed reagent. Why? It has less error. It has less variation. Do not forget that. It has less error and it has less variation. Huwag kalilimutan, it may not introduce other tests that are not performed by the machine. Mom, I cannot add HDL because it is a closed reagent. Tandaan natin, children, bakit preferred ang closed reagent? Bakit less error? Bakit less variation? Because when you change the brand of the reagent, you have to recalibrate the equipment. Failure to recalibrate is shift error, systematic error. Kaya preferred ang closed reagent. Take note, technical validation of analytical method focuses on, take a photo please, calibration, trueness of accuracy, precision, linearity or limit of detection, and quantification and specificity. These are the technical, how do you validate analytical methods? You calibrate it. Trueness of accuracy meaning, make sure that the assayed value is near the target value and target value is the mean value. Precise, when you repeat the test, near values. Take note of that. And what else? How about patient preparation? Oh my God, this is the introduction of the pure blood chem. We're done with quality control, we're done with analytical methods, we're done with instrumentation, we're done with automation. Guys, wag mo kalilimutan sa review book, nandiyan ang types of glassware. Tinatanong yan sa board exam. I don't need to explain that. That is self-explanatory. The borosilicate glass is the most commonly used glassware in the whole clinical lab, not only chemistry. That is the most commonly used, take note, in the whole chemistry, not only not only in the clinical chem, but entire lab. The borosilicate glassware. The brand names are Pyrex and Kymax. And take note, nakalagay dyan sa iyong book, what are the glassware that are chemically that is strengthened chemically versus strengthened thermally? Do not forget that strengthened chemically versus strengthened